What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we have a discussion on The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD in addition to my first impressions of the game now that I've put a number of hours into Nintendo's remaster here. But before we get into anything, please make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe if you are someone new and you enjoy daily content on Nintendo, RPGs, and more. Also live streams daily as well. Now let's go ahead and get into this topic here, because this game, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, has pretty much been controversial since it first debuted back on the Wii in 2011 with the motion controls. And I'll be completely honest, back when I played the game, I bought it day one, had the Wii Motion Plus, I was not a huge fan of the controls. I thought the game was cool, I thought the ideas were good, I loved the additions, the dashing and the climbing and all the cool stuff that they added in, the flying with the loft wing and all that. It was really dope, but I did not like the controls. Now, I ended up beating the game on the Wii, beat it again with the hero mode, and also bought it on the Wii U, or not bought it, I actually just played it backwards compatible on the Wii U, but never finished it all the way through just because the controls were just a little bit too much for me at that point. Now, we have The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD on the Nintendo Switch with button controls, with Pro Controller support, with Nintendo Switch Lite support, with normal Joy-Con support if you want to use the buttons, and also improved and enhanced motion controls as well. So it's pretty much offering such a full package here. But what if I was to tell you that The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD might be the best re-release of a Zelda game that has ever happened? And Nintendo has done a lot of these. I think after this tech analysis from Digital Foundry, everybody's favorite site to look over these things, this game is a lot more than what people were giving it credit for. They were saying it's just a HD port of the game. They didn't really enhance anything. It's the same thing. It's lazy, and that is not the case. It's not the case at all. And this might be the best Zelda remaster that they've done. Now, Nintendo has a long history of this. I'm not going to list everything here, guys, but you guys all know about Wind Waker HD. You know about The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. You know about Link's Awakening. You have The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D. There's been a number of them. And while they're all very good in their own right, they all do some things that are very nice and add new gameplay additions and improve the graphics or smooth things out. Let me tell you the reason why. After looking over this, but even before I saw what Digital Foundry, just what I was playing on my own, this might be the best one. Now, according to Digital Foundry, okay, this is what they've done. I'm reading some bullet points here. Shout out to Nintendo, everything for the clips on this one. So they said that some assets have been reworked with this game. The UI is completely redone. Also, you have improved image quality, 1080p docked, color dithering eliminated entirely, so you have a cleaner, smoother image when it comes to the colors. Anti-aliasing not used, but shimmering kept to a minimum. 720p native importable mode. Improved textures on the Nintendo Switch with finer details. You have higher resolution shadows as well. Faster loading on the Nintendo Switch, and almost always 60 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch, which is double that of the Wii original. And you have real full surround sound audio support on the Nintendo Switch with proper rear channel usage, which this is interesting because a lot of games, well, not even a lot, but some games on the Nintendo Switch like don't offer that. I know like Astral Chain just has like stereo audio, so if you have a full like setup, you can't really take advantage of that. So that's very good. Now you can check out the full analysis from Digital Foundry, link in the description. But with all of this stuff being done, that is a very stark contrast from what people were saying online. People were saying on the social medias, from what I saw with content creators. This is a huge improvement. They went back and reworked assets. They went back and reworked shadows, has improved the quality. They've just made things a lot better. Obviously doubling the frame rate, and that's kind of where I'm going to hone in on for my impressions and just playing this game along with the button controls in the game. The clean look of it, the 1080p, in addition to having that frame rate, which this would be the first official release on Nintendo hardware of a 3D Zelda game, not the 2D overhead ones, but the 3D Zelda games in 60 frames per second on the native hardware. And to me, that makes a huge difference if you're playing in motion controls. It makes a huge difference when you're playing the game normally, and what elevates this game above the other remasters and remakes Nintendo's done when it comes to The Legend of Zelda. All of them have usually just smoothed out that frame rate, and in some situations it's actually dipped here and there. So for example, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, a game that is praised by everyone, and people would compare Skyward Sword HD saying, oh, this one's so much better, before they even knew everything with it, but they're saying this one's so much better. That would have frame rates that would dip into the 20 frames at times. It would not be stable at 30. Most of the time it was good though, so it was still really fun to play, and they did add some great stuff with like the Swift Sail, obviously the Wii U gamepad and everything, but doubling that frame rate to me just makes a huge difference in the smoothness and the gameplay of a Zelda game like this, especially where timing with sword strikes is incredibly important on this one. It just makes it a way better experience, whether you're playing with motion controls or you're playing with the button controls. And speaking of those button controls, adding that in there, and it should have the option for motion controls, gives people complete flexibility in terms of how they want to play. Now, and I did try out the motion controls just so I can see if I liked them more than what it was on the Wii, and yes, I did like them more, although there are some issues like with the calibration every now and then and having to do that. But outside of that, it's a lot smoother and a bit more one-to-one in terms of what I've played. But to me, the button controls are the biggest thing here that makes Skyward Sword such a more enjoyable experience. If you've played games like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, that kind of has a similar type of blade mode, and this is the same thing here. Now, it's not perfect when it comes to doing spin strikes or doing fatal blows or doing like the little flip strikes that Link does, but I would say that it's very good, and you don't have to ever rely upon any type of motion controls at all unless you want to. You can turn on the motion aiming, you can still do some things, but this Pro Controller support is revolutionary to me when it comes to Skyward Sword. And when you look at everything else here, with the assets, or some of the assets being reworked, with the image quality being done, the UI being completely redone, with the native resolutions of 1080p and also 720p. Obviously it's a Wii game, so not crazy there, but still having that as well, but also making sure that they clean up just everything with it. The faster loading times as well, if you're going from the sky down to the ground, the audio support, which I did test out, and that is phenomenal as well too. This is a fantastic effort, and to me, so far from what I've played here, I'm definitely liking it more. When it comes to which remaster is better, I'm definitely liking it more than The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. I think it's definitely better than that, and I definitely think it's better than the Wind Waker because of the frame rate at time with it, and on top of it, the doubling of that. Now, I know some people will say, oh, well, that was Wii U. Of course, it's not going to be with the frame rate and everything like that, but to be honest, it really should have been 60, or at least it could have been, because you're jumping 2 generations with that. That was a GameCube game with the Wind Waker, right? And then you skip up the Wii, then you go to Wii U. There's definitely enough power in terms of from what they are doing with the CPU and also the GPU to get that, but for whatever reason, or maybe for development purposes in terms of time frame, they couldn't get that done because they wanted to get the game out sooner. But same thing goes for The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. You know, that is a GameCube / Wii game, and it jumped up 2 generations. Well, technically 1, I guess. It was a dual launch, but you guys know what I'm saying. It was essentially a GameCube game, so it went 2 generations as well. This is the same thing with Skyward Sword. It's going 2 generations, you know? Obviously, the Tegra X1 chip is better than what Nintendo's ever done before, but I feel that they probably could have got the 60 done if they wanted to with the Wii U in those remasters, but here they actually got it done, and therefore Switch gets the advantage with this game, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, over the other ones. Now, of course, you have Majora's Mask 3D, which is a fantastic remaster / remake, whatever you want to call it. Also with Ocarina of Time 3D. And remember, guys, I'm not saying that the game is better. I'm just saying in terms of what I feel, how quality the remaster is and what they did to it. Now, comparing to those two, that one's tough because the graphics are definitely much improved. But once again, it comes down to me with everything that they've redone here on top of the 60 frames. I didn't think that a Zelda game at 60 frames, especially a game like this, would be as important, and I think other Zelda games maybe not so much, but with the controls of Skyward Sword and the precise kind of movements that you need with the sword, that 60 frames makes all the difference, and I think that it elevates it in terms of the quality of the remaster compared to what I've played before. It really is a treat, and of course with the assets reworked and the image quality improved and all that, I'm playing on my LG CX OLED TV, and with Ocarina of Time 3D and with Majora's Mask, I mean, it's not a knock on the hardware per se, say, because obviously it was made for that, but still you don't have those options for really nice resolution or on the TV when it comes to the 3DS. And here with Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, you do, and these colors absolutely pop on an LG CX or a good TV. They just pop out. This game is colorful, it's vibrant, and they made it even better. So to me, touching up everything here, doubling the frame rate, and having those good button controls, I think just puts this above any of the other remasters that Nintendo has done with Zelda at this point. Now, better game, obviously that's a whole different story. I'm definitely not getting into that right now. Skyward Sword is easily one of my least favorite Zelda games, especially for 3D games, one of my least favorite. But after playing this one, it might jump above some of the other ones, but we're gonna have to wait and see on that. But so far, so good. I'm having a ton of fun with the game. I think it's really good, and I'm looking forward to going through and beating this game again, then probably playing it again on the hero mode. Although I do wish that Nintendo had the hero mode available from the beginning with Skyward Sword HD for those who are already advanced at the game or already know how to play, but hey, it is what it is on that one. So what are your thoughts when it comes to The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD? Do you feel that this game did more than what you were expecting? Do you feel that people judged it too early? How do you feel about everything and all of these improvements? Are you planning on picking up the game now, or are you currently playing? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this one here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on all the latest gaming news and information. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.